Hello friends, and let us welcome you to Life Story, a channel where we tell stories from the lives of ordinary people and wish you a pleasant listening. I've heard this one many times. Children tend to retrace their parents' path in life. I had never really believed in this, till I got myself in the very same situation my mum, sister and grandma had already been in. They had all divorced their husbands because they had been cheating. I'd never thought it'd be the same for me, never gave the fact that men cheat on all women in my family for some reason. Anyway, I just thought it was a coincidence. Still, I didn't rush to get married, I didn't date very much, and if I did get into a relationship it wasn't anything serious. My longest relationship only lasted 3 months, and most of them ended because my partners were pathologically jealous of everything. Women just can't stand this kind of stress, and I couldn't either. When I turned 30, my clock started ticking, so to say, and I worried about the future. I didn't want to be alone for life. I wanted a family. My mum was also worried. She wanted a happily ever after for me, but for some reason it just didn't come. I had a friend, Dan. I used to talk his ears off about my personal life failure. He was always a good friend. He'd listen to me, he'd give me advice if I asked. He cheered me up and kept saying that I would find love one day. Just stop looking and relax, and all in good time, you'll have your own fate in life. Once, Dan and I were chatting about my personal life again. I couldn't bring myself to agree with him this time. I thought I'd be alone for the rest of my days. And suddenly, Dan just hugged me to his heart, and it dawned on me. We started dating soon after that, and a few months after got married. I did love Dan, but it wasn't a very passionate love. He was simply so very comfortable. But I was afraid to lose my husband to my own jealousy one of these days. So I decided desperate times call for desperate measures. Once I went clubbing with friends. I just wanted to dance, get drunk and recharge emotionally. When I was already well into my cups, I saw a very handsome man sitting at the nearest table. I don't remember much of what happened next, it's all so foggy. I woke up in the stranger's apartment the next morning. I couldn't figure out what had happened. So I got my things and I ran back to my husband. Dan wasn't really mad at me. He believed it when I said I was out with my girlfriends all night. But sometime later, I realized I was pregnant. I was dead sure the baby was the guy's from the club. Dan was happy about the pregnancy. He thought it was his. When our son was born, he looked just like that stranger. I told Dan he looked exactly like my cousin, and he believed me. A few years later, I stopped thinking about the night I cheated on Dan. We had a good life. But then, a crack. Dan cheated on me being drunk. I learned about it. He was begging me on his hands and knees to forgive him. He kept saying that he couldn't remember how he'd gotten into bed with that girl. Well, I wasn't mad. I forgave Dan. He was very happy, although he'd never suspected that a few years back I'd cheated on him as well. How do you like this story's finale, friends? Thanks for listening. Leave comments and likes and subscribe to our channel.